So, I got another Strandberg. After experiencing the Boden for the first time with my Prog NX6 and having my mind well and truly blown, I had to get one with another string because, well, that was the only way that I could justify it without being made to sleep in the shed. These guitars are peak ergonomic, space age levels of design with like the heart and soul of a true player's guitar. The Prog had triggered an obsession that seems to be super common within the Strandberg community, and I have been well and truly bitten. I just had to get another one, for science obviously, but after playing this one for a couple of months now, well, the situation's not as simple as it seems. So this is my second ever Strandberg, but my first time with one of their extended range models, and my jaw dropped as soon as I got it out of the bag, dude. Getting into the looks and build quality of this guitar straight away, it would be silly not to talk about how painfully gorgeous it is. The chambered Swan Patch body and its 4A maple cap are finished off with a 4A quilted maple veneer in this glacier blue finish with natural binding. It's just like, I don't know, man, words can't describe how I feel about the way this guitar looks, and it only gets better. The body's bolted to a quarter sawn carbon reinforced maple neck with Strandberg's game changing Endurneck profile, 24 buttery smooth stainless steel frets, lumen layer dots, and this like ridiculously nice bird's eye maple board. From an aesthetic standpoint, I don't think Strandberg could have made better choices, honestly. The glacier blue finish and this super nice bird's eye maple board work so well together, but like, I feel the same about the earth green finish and the rich light on the Prog. The only thing better looking than these guitars to me is my missus. Do you think that'll get me out of trouble for buying another one? That said, I've got something I want to say about the material choices later on. Hardware wise, Strandberg's own fixed bridge and string locking system are super high quality anyway. The bridge in particular is incredibly easy to adjust, it's super comfortable, and the tuners are dope, man. They make for super easy string changes and the ratios are really good. But we couldn't talk about hardware without talking about these two beasts. They're Fishman Fluence Modern pickups with a ceramic in the bridge and an Alnico in the neck, both with the push-pull coil split and voice change that you'd expect on Fishman's, all controlled with a 3-way switch. So it's absolutely packed with features, dude, and they've all been meticulously combined to create a guitar that's quality matches the way it looks. I had a lot of great things to say about the Prog, especially the construction, and this is every bit the same. This model is the Strandberg Boden Original NX7, and it's actually a second-hand one that I picked up off eBay, who I kinda wish had banned me at this point for my own good. But it does mean that I can't speak for the factory setup, and it does have a little mark on the lower bout that just sits here on my thigh, and my thigh's not going to be looking at it, so it doesn't matter. But in terms of everything else, it's completely stock. I've actually checked the fretwork against the Prog and they're like virtually identical fret ends, so I'm 99% sure this is how it left the factory and it's not had any additional fretwork done. Basically, it is everything that I expected it to be in terms of looks and build quality, but it's still blown me away, man. And welcome back to the channel, dudes. I'm Jack, and I am beyond stoked to have you checking out this guitar with me. I like to make it a point to thank you guys for checking out my videos when there's so many other videos you could be watching on YouTube, so it really does mean a massive amount to me. If you're enjoying yourself or you find this video helpful at any point, feel free to put on some super heavy music and like absolutely stomp the like button for me. Or you can just click it, because it's the best way to let YouTube know that you had a good time. Also, if you do want to support the channel further, first of all, don't feel like you have to, but I have just launched my new Legato lick pack, Stick Legato Licks Volume 1. It's a collection of 21 Legato licks and lines that you can use to work on your legato playing, as well as 6 legato specific warm-ups. If you do choose to check it out, thank you, I really do appreciate it, and let me know what you thought about it. Anyway, let's get into how this thing plays, and thank you again, mate. Okay, so this guitar does not feel like a 7-string. In the best way possible. If you're familiar with extended range guitars, the hardest thing to get used to is the fact that they feel absolutely f***ing massive, like some mariachi guitar or something. The necks are wide, the scale lengths are long, and the bodies are usually super hefty to accommodate for those extra strings. Not my favourite things in the world, to be honest, dude, because I love playing 7-strings, but I hate the feeling of awkward massive guitars. This Strandberg removes every single one of those problems for me. Starting with the Endurneck, I mentioned this in my other video, but the neck profile doesn't feel like any other profile I've played before, and that works in its favour massively here. Due to the meticulously designed angles of the Endurneck, your thumb is always guided into a grip that means the neck never feels too wide. It's just absolute genius, dude. You don't feel like you're excessively reaching for any note on the board at any point, and when you're playing a 7-string, that matters a lot. The Strandberg bolt on neck heel also helps a lot with that too, because it's super contoured and it actually gives your thumb more support the further you get up the neck instead of being a huge hindrance. looking at you Les Pauls. Then you've got the body. The Boden shape is by far the most comfortable guitar I've ever played, and that is not by accident. Loads of time went into designing and tweaking this body shape, and it is by far the most form-fitting guitar shape I have ever played, and it does all that without sacrificing being absolutely stunning. You can sit with it however you want and it's awesome in all positions, but then you add multi-scale to the mix and it just ties the whole thing together. The overall footprint of the guitar is shorter than pretty much all of the guitars, even if it had a headstock, and when you couple that with it being super light and incredibly comfortable, it just feels really agile and easier to play than like my RGs or Super Strats or like any Stratocaster that I've ever played. That's why it doesn't feel like a 7-string to me, and I absolutely love that about it. But here's my problem with it, or should I say the way that Strandberg differentiates each of their product lines. I would 100% rather own this exact guitar but with a rich light fretboard purely for playability reasons. Don't get me wrong, I think this guitar looks immaculate with a bird's eye maple board, but I would much rather have the feeling of rich light under my fingertips than maple just because it's so much smoother. However, currently, if you want a Glacier Blue NX7, then it has to come from the original line, and the original line all have bird's eye maple boards unless you buy the NX7 True Temperament with its squiggly wiggly frets. That guitar costs £3,595. Also, the original guitars are all hardtails, so if you want a bird's eye maple fretboard on a guitar that's got a trem, then you're out of luck, my dude. Colour is not the end of the world by any means, but playability is, especially when you're prepared to fork out a significant amount of cash for a guitar that's supposed to be the best playing experience you will ever have. You know what I mean? If I could spec this guitar myself, I would take the original body with these pickups, this finish, and this bridge because I don't want a trem on a guitar that I'm going to drop tune a lot, but I would add the prog neck because of the rich light board. That guitar would be the ultimate in playability for me, but it doesn't exist. However, I am being incredibly picky. The fact of the matter is these guitars are so good that the only problem I have is that I can't get rich light because it feels nicer on my poor spoilt fingy wingies. Absolute first world problems, right? I mean, it is still my second favourite guitar after my Boden Prog. So you just heard it in action, but let's dive into that for a moment. The more I play my Strandbergs and listen to all the ridiculously good Strandberg artists that make me doubt everything about my own playing, the more I realise that Strandberg guitars have their own sound. I am not a Tonewood snob by any means. I am not one of those guys that reckons that they can sniff a guitar's case and tell that the guitar's made out of alder that was felled in the 3rd week of July by a guy that only drinks Dr. Pepper. I just don't care. The feel and quality of the guitar is way more important to me because the choice of hardware and the amp are going to make the biggest tonal differences anyway. That said, there is something about Strandbergs, I don't know what it is, but they've got their own unique thing going on tonally. Could be the chambered swamp ash, could be the construction, could be that I'm just losing my mind, who knows. Aside from that, the biggest thing that makes an impact on this guitar's voice are the Fishman Fluence Modern pickups. You'll no doubt have come across these pickups before because they are hot in the metal scene, and there's good reason for that. They're incredibly flexible and sound great in a load of different contexts, and that's why they're quickly becoming the industry standard for active pickups. Now I do like them a lot, but they're not my favourite active pickup, and that's for one reason. There's like quite a lot of like top end sizzle that's unique to these pickups, and it gets a little bit grating. They can quite easily become a bit harsh sounding, which isn't uncommon for active pickups, but it's a little bit more prominent with these. However, if you're willing to deal with that trade-off for the flexibility, the articulation, and the great sounding cleans and driven tones, then these are your pickups. Basically, the sound of this guitar is everything you would expect. It's capable of anything, but it does edge closer to metal and heavier styles because, well, It's a 7-string with Fishman Fluence Moderns. It's not exactly the guitar you'd choose if you were going to play loads of jazz. I know I wouldn't, but I mean, you do you, dude. In my humble internet idiot opinion, Strandberg have made a 7-string guitar that fixes every single problem that I've ever had with 7 strings. It's compact, it's super comfortable, and the neck doesn't feel like a massive railway sleeper. It's everything that I could possibly want from a 7-string guitar, apart from the fact that the fretboard material isn't quite what I would like from a playability standpoint. Looks though, dude, I mean, it's got them. It's an awesome looking guitar with impeccable levels of build quality. I just don't think anyone does ergonomics as good as Strandberg, and it's super evident as soon as you play one of these things. I just love these guitars, dude, and if you love them, then you can check out this video here to see what I think about the Boden Prog NX6. Thanks again for watching, dudes. I appreciate you. Take care, mate. Stay safe. I'll see you later.